Good morning, good morning. Hello, everyone. I think we can be a little bit happier. Good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome to Africa Unlocked 2025, as of course hosted by Standard Bank Business and Commercial Banking. This is in fact only our second gathering, and boy, I tell you, if anything, last year, this year promises to be even better if last year was anything to go by. Certainly, I think the momentum we've gained from a year ago and the excitement that's palpable as I was walking outside and watching so many people chatting and getting excited to be in attendance this morning. And of course, many of you have come from far and wide. You've already heard, my name is Bongani Bingwa. I'm a broadcast journalist based in Johannesburg. I'm the host of 702 Breakfast. And I'm told reliably that there are a lot of unhappy people in Johannesburg this morning because I'm not on the radio. But their loss is certainly going to be your gain. So I'm absolutely thrilled to be with everyone today. We meet on the anniversary of a seminal moment, I think, in African history, because it was back in 2002, July, this very week, that the Organization of African Unity was officially dissolved in Durban. And of course, in its place, like a rising phoenix, as you will recall, it was replaced by the African Union. And it is in that light that we look forward to hearing from two very distinguished delegates a little later on. All of our delegates, of course, and panelists and speakers will be absolutely fantastic, but I think these two deserve a special mention. Firstly, His Excellency Ndaba Haulate, the Vice President of the Republic of Botswana, and of course our own former Deputy President, Dr. Phumzile Mlambo Ngcuka. One of the things that has happened in my personal life, if you will indulge me, is since I last saw you, I have entered the 5th floor. I'm officially 50. This now means I'm allowed to make dad jokes. So throughout the day, I will not spare any of you. One of the themes this week, as we will be gathering over the next 2 days, certainly has to be about resilience. And funny enough, my mother turned 85 this week, and she and I have amazing conversations. She's a fantastic storyteller. And I'd forgotten, of course, the day, and my daughter reminded me, and so by the time I came to say happy birthday to her, she said I'd ruined her day. I said, what do you mean? She said, you've ruined my day. I said, but I didn't even know it was your birthday. How could I have ruined your day? At R&B, they really laughed at that one. So I asked my mother this question. I said, what is the biggest lesson you have learned at 85? She says, you must embrace your mistakes. And she promptly gave me a hug. All right, Trevor Noah was not available. We'll get serious. We're at a time where, once again, Africa, I think, seeks to define its role in the global economy. And we know these are tumultuous and uncertain times. But Standard Bank supports the hope that we are indeed at the threshold of a transformational decade, one that will establish Africa as a powerhouse of innovation, of trade, and sustainable growth. Hence, Africa Unlocked 2025 aims to be a premier global platform, convening some of you who are, of course, the continent's most influential leaders, investors, policymakers, and entrepreneurs. It's an exclusive gathering that's more than just a conference. It's a strategic movement, hopefully to shape the future of African commerce, investment, and industrialization. So expect dynamic dialogue and cutting-edge insights. It's a real treat also to be in this wonderful setting at the Norval Foundation here in Cape Town. Please take some time to look at some of the exhibitions in the various rooms. They really speak to the 30 years of South Africa's democracy, our struggle for inclusion, our struggle for unity, and coming together as a young democracy. But perhaps before we proceed to some of the formalities, let's quickly go through some of the house rules, if you'll indulge me. For anybody who doesn't know, the Wi-Fi code, you simply select the username Standard Bank, and the password is Africa Unlocked all small caps. So if you need your device to be on the Wi-Fi. But also, of course, as a sign of respect to all the speakers, may I ask that we put our phones on silent? I'm going to give everyone an opportunity to do that because we always think they are, and then it rings. As we do that, take note, the emergency exits. This is always very important because in case of an emergency, this is the strict rule. The protocol is, you allow me a chance to get out. No, the exits are clearly marked throughout the room, will be directed accordingly should there be the need. And of course, no smoking is allowed in this building. The smoking section is in the foyer in the front area. The bathrooms are located as you exit this main plenary room. To your left, as the Beyonce song says, to the left, quite literally, you will turn left and left again, and then you'll see the bathrooms. If you need medical support, we've got facilities available on site. And if you need to charge your phone, the charging stations can also be found at reception. If you have any special requests, please speak to the production team at the back of the room. And one last note before we commence. I'm not alone this year. I'm really so excited. I'm joined by an industry colleague who is a renowned financial journalist. I'm sure many of you have spoken to her many times. Fifi Peters will be co-piloting with me. She will be coming up on stage after our first speaker. And that, of course, is a man who really needs no introduction. In every sense, our host at this gathering. Please, folks, would you give a warm welcome to Bill Blackie, the Chief Executive Officer for Business and Commercial Banking.
Right. Thank you, Bongani. Good morning and welcome to Africa Unlocked 2025. I know it's a little fresh outside, but since I was a young boy, I've always thought that winter is a wonderful time of year. It's chilly, but the air is also clear and crisp, refreshing and invigorating. It's a season that I think also brings a sense of hope of imminent growth, and it follows in the springtime. I want to start by saying thank you for being here. Many of you have traveled a long way to be here with us, investing your valuable time and resources. It's a privilege to stand with you, Africa's business leaders, entrepreneurs, investors, policymakers from across the continent. I'm confident that during the course of today and tomorrow, the topics of discussion will be enriching, the opportunity to engage plentiful, and most importantly, the opportunity to lean in as the catalysts of growth in Africa. It was wonderful to meet and reconnect with you last night at the Zeitz. What a fabulous venue. It was designed to create a platform for African art that seamlessly blends modern aesthetics with historical context. This wonderful Norval Foundation, where we find ourselves today, is equally impressive. With an intent to allow the natural environment and African artwork to take center stage. It's a fitting venue for Africa Unlocked, where over the next day and a half, the critical themes shaping the future of Africa's commerce, innovation, investment, and industrialization will take center stage. Businesses in Africa are the engines of growth, with the ambition and the ability to make big plays that will transform the continent for generations to come. It's why we believe that Africa Unlocked is more than a conference. It's a platform for action, a shared space to align, to connect, to lean in, and to build. Over the next 2 days, you will hear from some of Africa and the world's most influential voices, from tech pioneers and next-generation entrepreneurs, policymakers, and financiers. We'll explore the future of African industrialization in a post-carbon world, SME growth and regional value chains, family businesses and intergenerational wealth, agriculture, energy, infrastructure, and digital innovation. And importantly, our continent's role in shaping a new global order. In a world in which every day we face a deluge of news about tariffs, inflation, unemployment, commodity prices, geopolitics, exchange rates, and energy transition, and many more, it's easy to be overwhelmed, to lose sight of progress and the potential for growth. Last year, at the first edition of Africa Unlocked, I shared that I've always regarded myself as an optimist, especially when it comes to Africa and our growth prospects. As I stand before you today, I remain as an optimist and as optimistic as ever about Africa's prospects. But I'm certainly not an economist, and Gulam Balam, our chief economist, is, and he will share his insights and also the case for optimism. Why then am I bullish about Africa's prospects? One of the best parts of the work that I do is that I have the greatest privilege of spending time with you, our clients. Sub-Saharan Africa's GDP is forecast to grow by 4.3% this year, outpacing much of the rest of the world. So what is driving that growth? It starts with family-owned businesses. We believe that they are central to Africa's future. These businesses are not just custodians of legacy and culture, but they are catalysts of growth, driving economic value, providing employment, and demonstrating sustained innovation and resilience. Through partnerships with the right governance and capital structure, they can become the next generation of corporate giants, drivers of multi-generational wealth. As an example, we have amongst us today Moakazakh Estates, who celebrated a 100-year relationship with us. It's wonderful to have you in the room with us today again, Francois. By 2040, Africa's population is expected to grow to 1.2 billion people, almost twice what we have today. But throughout history, industrialization and economic prosperity has relied on access to energy. By 2030, Africa's green economy is expected to create 3.3 million jobs, particularly in off-grid solar, sustainable agriculture, and clean mobility. In countries like Kenya and Nigeria, solar irrigation is already transforming agricultural production and quadrupling rural incomes. Since 2022, BCB has mobilized almost 11 billion rand in green financing, enabling over 1,500 businesses across our markets to transition towards renewable energy and smart agriculture. We are working hard to do much, much more. From solar-powered dairies to off-grid vineyards, to solar-driven farms, our clients are leading Africa's green transmission. As a small example, we recently supported one of our large agricultural clients in Mpumalanga to build a 25 million plant, the largest private project of its kind in the area. Within weeks, it powered 2 farms, 26 households, saving almost 500,000 rand of energy costs annually. A small but powerful example of the resilience through renewable energy. It's not just a financing solution, it's an example of our focus to support systemic shift to a low-carbon, resilient economy. Business and commercial banking is present in 14 African markets. We also have presence in 3 offshore markets, the Isle of Man, Jersey, and Mauritius. Our solutions are to ensure that we provide African entrepreneurs with everything they need to thrive both domestically and internationally, managing their onshore and offshore capital and liquidity needs. The combination of onshore and offshore solutions really enables us to support one of our Nigerian clients to confidently expand to Kenya and Uganda, seamlessly scaling their payment platform to process over 5 billion transactions annually. The solution, driving digital inclusion for millions of small businesses across East Africa. Trade is also a powerful engine for growth in Africa. The demand for sustainably produced, high-quality agricultural products continues to grow, not only outside Africa, but within Africa too. To that end, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement is expected to boost intra-African trade by over 50% and create 300 million new jobs by 2035. we are actively working with the Secretariat to play a leading role in supporting its success. Our shared task is to build the infrastructure, the trust, and the financial mechanisms to make this a truly borderless economic zone. But while driving intra-Africa trade, we also recently host 43 of our clients from across Africa at the China-Africa Economic Trade Expo in Changsha, Hunan. I was there myself with our clients. It was incredible to see China announce zero tariffs for 53 African nations. Later this year, we will again host clients at the China International Import Expo, hosted in Shanghai. Events like these enable us to connect African producers to dynamic markets such as China. This year alone, we have seen demand for African agricultural products in this corridor surge by 27%. Additionally, trade brings with it substantial opportunity to transform Africa's industrialization. And in 2024, BCB facilitated over 100 billion rand in trade between Africa and China, reflecting a compound annual growth rate of 20% over the last 5 years. Through trade, Africa can also access world-class technologies, ensure value addition at source. We've also been successful in the last few years of introducing Chinese original equipment manufacturers to our clients who've benefited from the world-class technology. One of our clients in Zambia has installed a complete food processing plant. It really is a truly world-class facility that drives local production and has already created local employment. In BCB, we also aim to play a very active role in participating meaningfully in thought leadership in Africa. To that end, we've partnered with the Wits Institute for Social and Economic Research to establish the Standard Bank Chair in African Trust Infrastructures. This is an investment in the intellectual capital that enables trust to flourish. Through this program, we support doctoral candidates researching foundations of trust in African economies, while also convening thought leaders across academia, policy, and public sector. The chair hosts seminars, lectures, and debates on how trust shapes everything from financial inclusion and investment to social cohesion. We all interact every day with trust infrastructures, whether through digital authentication, credit systems, or customer relationships. Our partnership with Wiser deepens this understanding, helping us and the continent build the intellectual and institutional foundations needed to unlock growth. And I'm delighted to have Professor Keith Breckenridge join us today and listen to his insights. I share these examples with you not in any way to be boastful, but rather to emphasize the meaningful progress that is happening in and across Africa, and why I believe my optimism is well-founded and rational. At Standard Bank and in business and commercial banking, we believe in leaning in, not idealism, but leaning in with intention. We are committed to being the catalysts for growth in and across Africa. Africa holds the promise of sustained real growth. So we gather here, surrounded by art and nature, unified in one purpose. Join us in becoming the catalysts for Africa's growth, because Africa's moment is here, and together we will shape it. Thank you very much.